Good morning, students. Just a small portion that we completed the other day, that is Tuesday, from the Blue Bead. I gave you a brief introduction of the the author Nora Burke. She was English, and many of her stories revolve around India. Her father was a forest officer, and therefore many of the settings of her stories are Indian forest. This story is not any exception. This also is set in the forests of India. And what does it show us? It shows us the triumph of human will, the triumph of bravery, the triumph of determination, the triumph of will over adversities. I think I also sent you the central idea or the theme of the story. We are introduced to the story in a different way because first we are introduced to the antagonist, the villain of the story. And who is the villain of this particular story? The crocodile that we are going to see, beautifully described. And then we are introduced to the protagonist. First, we are introduced to the antagonist. I'm sorry if I made a mistake in that. The villain. And the next, we are introduced to the protagonist. That is the hero of the story. And the hero of the story is a small girl child, Sibia, 12 years. I told you that she has been referred to by the name of a child woman, an oxymoron, a literary device that takes two opposite words. And why an oxymoron? Because she was a child, she was 12. And why a woman? Because she was born to toil, to work hard. Without any further delay, let's start the story. From deep waters came the crocodile, out of black water, water curved with whirlpools, into the frill of gold shallows, a colored gold reflecting the rays of the sun. Most probably it was evening time and it was going time for the sun to set. Description: he was twice the length of a tall man, nearly 12 feet approximately, and inside him, among the stones which he had swallowed to aid digestion, rolled a silver bracelet. Maybe an insinuation and reference to that fact that this mugger or crocodile would also eat human beings. Timber was being floated down this great Indian river from forests further up. From forests further up. And there were sleepers laying stuck around. Sleepers. What we use between the railway tracks. Until someone came to dislodge them. So they had to be dislodged, they would get stuck. Or it was the rainy season, the flood season, when it would be carried away with the flow of the water. The crocodile had no need to hide, obviously, it was all powerful. He came to rest in the glassy shallows, among the logs, balanced there on tiptoe on the rippled sand. Tiptoe, no making sound, just the body submerged, the eyes and the mouth floating up the river, and the nostrils just up to breathe. What a camouflage! What a way to hide! waiting patiently for its prey. Around him, broad sparkling water traveled between cliffs and grass and forested hills. A jungle track came out of scrub each side and down to the sun-whitened stepping stones, with on which the people would stand and perhaps bend down to get water from this water body. The mugger crocodile, again description, blackish brown above the yellow white under, lay motionless. Crocodiles can wait forever to have their food. Once they eat, they don't need to eat for a long time. This antediluvian prehistoric Saurian dinosaur, this prehistoric juggernaut, be careful of these adjectives, ferocious and formidable, a vast force in the water propelled by its huge tail, lay lapped by ripples, his mouth running almost the whole length of the body, was closed and fixed in that evil bony smile. You see that looks, the two canines are coming out, and where the yellow underside came up, it was tinged with green. From the day perhaps 100 years ago when the sun had hatched him in a sandbank and he had broken his shell and got his head out and looked around ready to snap. So from birth, it was a ferocious eater, ready to snap, bite at someone. From that day, when he had at once made for the water, ready to fend for himself immediately, he had lived by his brainless craft and ferocity, escaping the birds of prey and the great carnivorous fishes that eat baby crocodiles. He had prospered. So please note the danger, the birds of prey, hawks, vultures, catching all the food he needed and storing it till putrid, stale, rotten in the holes in the bank. Tepid water, warm, lukewarm water to live in, and plenty of rotted food grew him to this great length. Now nothing could pierce the inch thick armor. So please, again, a part of the description, look at the armor, not even rifle bullets. Only the eyes had the soft underarms offered a place, so the weak spots, the eyes and the underarms. He lived well in the river, sunning himself sometimes with other crocodiles, muggers, as well as long-snouted fish-eating gharials on warm rocks and sandbanks where the sun dried the clay on them quite white and where they could plop off into the water. The big crocodile fed mostly on. So please, what did the crocodile feed on? Fish, deer, monkeys, duck, dogs, cows, even went off to the burning ghat to have burnt, charred bodies. And we know there was a silver bracelet, maybe even human beings. Beside him in the shoal lay waiting, glimmering a blue gem. It was not a gem, though. It was just a neck of the bottle, which was sand-worn, eroded by sand to become polished, perforated holes on both sides. It looked beautiful like a gem, and it could be worn perhaps with a string. Ideal for these small girls who often came to the water body from this forest suffering from poverty. They had no financial resources to buy any imitations, any jewelry. In the shrill noisy village above the ford, out of the mud house of the same color as the ground came a little girl, a thin, starveling child, dressed in earth-colored rag, which she had torn into two. Such was their poverty. One to cover the upper part of her body, the other as a skirt to cover the other part of the body. Sibia was eating the last meal. Be careful what the meal comprised of. Chapati wrapped around a smear of green chili, rancid butter, and then she divided this chapati into many pieces to give the impression she was eating more and chewed onto it. Her description: ebony hair, great eyes, skin oiled brown cream. She was a happy, immature child woman. I told you it's an oxymoron. Use of two opposite words. On one side, she was a child, she was just barely 12. And on the other side, she was a woman because she was born to toil. She was born to work hard. Barefoot, of course. Of course, with the stress on their poverty. Of course, she was barefoot. They could not afford a juta or a chappal or a sandal, and often goosey cold. So cold that she had goosebumps on a winter morning, and born to toil. Thank you, friends. This much for today. I hope you understand the lesson. As I said, I will be tapering off the classes now and the assignments after Thursday. I will not give. So in Thursday, if you have any doubts regarding anything, please feel free to clarify in the Zoom class. Thank you so much.